Alright, peace, 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 Olivia. And I hope that you are doing wonderful today. And so, right now, we are going to be beginning our first session together. So, within the first session, we are going to be breaking down the first through the sixth house. And then later, we will have a follow up session via the phone where, I'll kind of answer any further questions you may have regarding like your houses and things like that. So, when it comes to your first house, and just so that you're mindful, we're going to be covering your first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth house within this breakdown, within this session. Now, when it comes to your first house cusp sign is Leo. So that makes your ascendant or your rising sign Leo. Now, within your exploration and discovery into astrology, you may have come across this concept, this idea that whichever planet, rather, I should say, rules the sign that sits on your ascendant is the planet that rules your chart. So in this case, that would be the sun, right? Because the sun is the ruler of Leo. Now, this is true except when there are planets within that house, within your first house. See, the thing is, planets that are in your house, in a sense, are like much more influential than planets that are ruling over the house just because it's the same sign. You feel me? So I hope that makes sense. So within your chart, you have Mars closest to the cusp. So Mars is the first chart ruler, or the first house ruler. Like, Mars has the greatest influence over your first house energies. And then Saturn would be the second planet that has tremendous influence over your first house energies. So now that we got that out the way, let's get into what the first house is, what it represents, what it signifies. So as I'm sure you're aware, the first house is like the personality, right? It in a sense is personality in which like the character has to function through. So the difference between personality and character is the personality is the ascendant, the character is the sun, and then like the mentality is the moon. When I say mentality, like the way that you perceive reality, the way that you react and respond to reality. Like Mercury, right, is also the mentality. Mercury deals with logic, logistics, how you process information, how you register information. And the thing with Mercury is, it's like your intellectual mind, whereas your moon is your subconscious mind. And so your subconscious covers a greater amount of your mind. It's more of a significator and a representator of your mind than Mercury, or than your conscious mind. So Mercury is just your conscious mind, how you register information, your ability to solve problems. It's kind of like beta and alpha. You feel me? Well, beta brainwaves is like the brainwave that most people are keyed into. And this is rather a subconscious form of brainwave, right? This is the mode of being habitual, going throughout your day, and kind of just doing what you did yesterday, on a continual, repetitive basis, not completely thinking about it, going through the motions, doing the things that are comfortable. Very moon-like energy. Alpha is the brainwave that brings the brain into a state of problem solving and problem thinking. So that's more of Mercury. Then theta and gamma, these are like deeper states, which are the subconscious. But yeah, I just wanted to, break that down real quick for you. So back to my analogy about, the sun and the moon, when it comes to the character, it's like the personality develops the character. You feel me? When you think of the sun is how you shine. The sun is how you express yourself. The sun is your identity. The sun is your perception as an individual. And all of these things, in a sense, are things you kind of cultivate, you kind of grow into. You feel what I'm saying? You find yourself in this life. You understand who you are, your ego, your identity. But your ascendant, your personality is innate within you. It already is. You feel what I'm saying? It signifies also like those qualities and attributes that come like natural to you, that are very personal to you as well, in the sense that, like for example, you're a Leo ascendant, and then then your sun is in Gemini. So your sun being in Gemini, your character, the energies you're developing, revolve around intellect, logic, rationality, reasoning. And the way that you do it, like your personality, is very Leo-like. So that's all about expression, all about creativity, all about identity as well. Because Leo, like I said, right, is ruled by the sun. So Leo is a sign it's a fire sign. So very, very animated. A lot of Leo ascendants, they're like dancers. They enjoy dancing. Or they're very fashionable. Something about the way that they dress. You feel what I'm saying? Leo ascendant just finds many different ways, to express itself, to find expression into this world. You feel what I'm saying? I hope that makes sense to you. Okay, so that's pretty much like the ascendant Leo. Well, to run through like the initials for the ascendant energy, first and foremost, Leo's key phrase is I will, right? Leo is all about the willpower. So this would indicate that you are a type of person who is very, very potent and strong when it comes to channeling your willpower to get certain things done that revolve around your personal life and making sure that you're personally set and you're personally good. And so, like right, the houses deal with different departments of life. The first house deals with the most personal department of life. It deals with like the I am, right? Because Aries is traditionally in the first house. The energy of Aries is expressed through the first house. So it's like another aspect we can discuss for me to help you gain a clear understanding of the first house is the first house squares the fourth house, right? The fourth house is the house of family, the home life, if what I'm saying, who you are as a unit. A lot of the times, who you may be in regards to like your family, in regards to who you are as that unit, that group, it may not completely register with who you want to be, what your interests truly are. You feel what I'm saying? And so that's like the ascendant squaring the fourth house. The ascendant is like those things that you are interested in personally, whereas the fourth house may be certain things that you are brought into because of your family. So I hope that helped you gain a greater clarity upon the first house. So where your interests are concerned, there is this potency when it comes to channeling the willpower, because that's what Leo is all about. It's fixed fire, right? And fire is energy and activity, and Leo is fixed. So Leo ascendants have like this strong willpower about them this ability to like focus in on something and accomplish it. They're like also highly ambitious, very motivationally orientated. And actually, this deacon is like the, hold on, I'm gonna check something real quick. This deacon is like, because you have 15 degrees, right? Your ascendant is 15 degrees within the sign Leo. So 15 degrees Leo is like the middle. It is the middle of the Leo energy, and this is the deacon of reformation, reforming things, right? Remaking things. Reformation typically rather speaks on the energies and the genres that revolve around reforming and recreating energies that may deal with the world, that may deal with politics, that may deal with religion. You feel what I'm saying? And Leo is a leader. And so with this energy, the way that it can express is like kind of utilizing one's influence to, in a sense, bring positive change into the world. You feel me? Because this is also the deacon of Leo, that's Leo Sagittarius. You feel me? So this is a Leo energy. So it's the sun, but it's sub-ruled by Jupiter. So that energy is channeled into your ascendant. You feel me? So it's not just the sun, but Jupiter is also involved through the Leo energy. But then when we expand it, we also have Mars and Saturn. So you have a couple of things happening within your ascendant. And when we get into the planets, I'll get more into detail about the planets. Right now we're talking about the houses, you feel me? So yeah, this energy right here, it essentially is kind of all about performing good deeds and goodwill, you feel me? In a sense, taking that willpower, that personal will, and connecting it to a higher meaning, a higher purpose, you feel what I'm saying? Because Leo, well, Sagittarius rather, and Jupiter is all about like a higher power, a higher will. And so for the ascendant Leo, from this perspective, like you shouldn't per se approach your life experiences from a selfish standpoint, which I'm sure you already don't, but rather enable yourself to leverage the heart, you feel me, which Leo rules, right? Leo rules the heart. Allow yourself to leverage your heart, but from like a metaphorical or allegorical, not the literal heart organ, but like leverage kindness and generosity and charity and helping others and things like that, you feel me? When these in general may be attributes and qualities that are already within your personality, you feel me? And to get deeper into this Leo energy, the strength that is most connected with Leo is its tendency of kindness. Leos can be very kind. Unlike Aries, the first fire sign, Leos are not ruled by the head, but they're ruled by the heart. You feel me? So that's the primary difference between Aries and Leo. First two fire signs. But where Leo may fall short is in its tendency to want to dominate and in its tendency to want to take others over. You feel what I'm saying? That can be its weakness. And like I mentioned earlier, like the key phrase for Leo is I will, and it's all about the willpower. So the more you can channel your will through making, like, whether that's vision boards or making goals, writing goals. But I think with Leo, because it's a fire sign and fire is all about the vision, imagination, you would benefit more by being very visionary and visual with like the direction you want to go in life. You feel what I'm saying? But yeah, anyways, that's like the first house. And this energy is altered by Mars, Saturn, and the sun. You feel what I'm saying? And we'll get into that more later. Anyways, now to get into your give me a sec. Your second house. So as I'm sure you're aware, like the second house, it is the house that deals with wealth, right? It is the custodian of wealth. It doesn't per se generate wealth for you, because that's the sixth house, but it's like the custodian of your wealth. And your second house is within the sign Virgo. Your second house is within the sign Virgo. Okay. So with your second house being within the sign Virgo, what this all means is, I mean, it's a positive and it's a good, because the earth signs traditionally belong in the wealth houses, as it's called. The second, the sixth, and the 10th house are wealth houses. The first, the fifth, and the 9th house are life houses. They deal with life. And so the fact that you have these houses and their like element is a good thing. You feel what I'm saying? Now, like with your ascendant being in Leo, it enables you to be able to be able to express yourself type of energy. You feel me? But now to get into the ascendant in Virgo. First and foremost, Virgo is a very, very resourceful sign. So one of the ways that this can be interpreted and expressed is, you may be a type of individual who may know how to make a dollar stretch, and this has to deal with Virgo's intellectual powers, right? Powers. And so Virgo is ruled by Mercury, and so what this means is Mercury is like your chart, your second house ruler. You feel what I'm saying? And if there's any planets within, you don't have any planets within your second house. Your North Node is in your second house, but not any planets. So yeah, your second house is ruled by Mercury. Mercury is Quicksilver, first and foremost. With Mercury being Quicksilver, but because it's an earth sign, it's kind of slowed down a little. You feel me? Now, because Mercury is Quicksilver, typically where Mercury energy is concerned, these are individuals that know how to apply their intellect either to spend their money wisely or make patterns revolving around money that enables them to attract more money to them. So with the second house in Virgo, one of the ways that this expresses is Virgo is like the planner. So Virgo and Gemini, these two are like polar opposites of Mercury. So Gemini is like the thoughts that are kind of scattered. These are just thoughts you entertain. Your thoughts, like your day-to-day thoughts, you let them pass. They come and they pass. But Virgo is like concrete thoughts that you've pondered a lot upon. Concrete thoughts that you, in a sense, have sat down, you feel me, and written out plans about. So Virgo, what it does is it takes that which was just a thought and it manifests it and makes it into something tangible and something physical. So for you, the second house isn't just physical resources, it's personal resources of all kinds. So for you, your ability to intellectualize and your ability, you're Gemini as well, right? Which adds to this energy. But your ability to intellectualize, to plan things out, to be practical, and have a step-by-step understanding of how to get to the money is one of those things that you should most definitely leverage, you feel what I'm saying? Most definitely like double down on and make plans and inventive ideas even. Like, I say inventive ideas, but well, yeah, no, never mind. Yeah. I say inventive ideas, but I do also gotta mention and bring up the fact that when it comes to Virgo, is because it's a earth sign, it's not so innovative. It's more practical and more grounded. And for you, like, your best approach towards wealth is kind of observing what already works, what other people are doing that already works, and then adapting it for yourself and kind of shifting it. Like, Virgo belongs to the second emanation, you feel me? So does Leo, it belongs to the second emanation too. The second emanation is an energy. It's like the second wave of the signs, or the element, right? Leo, Virgo, Scorpio, and Libra. These are like the second coming of the signs, or the elements. Aries, Gemini, Taurus, and Cancer are the first coming, right? So being the second coming, like, their energies is kind of modified a bit. Like, that fire is modified a bit because there is already a fire that existed. So in general, the way that the second emanation signs play out is they will come in a approach where they do things according to their own common sense, their own practicality, but they also take into consideration other people's advice and other people's thoughts on what's common and what's practical. And that's very much leveraged within your second house, you feel me? Furthermore, your ability to analyze, your ability to perceive. Yeah, I think I kind of was talking about your analytical ability, your ability to analyze and see what works and what doesn't work when it comes to the accumulation of wealth is also a good channel to follow. You feel what I'm saying? So, to get more practical about this, I guess another thing, the cool thing about Virgo, because it's Mercury, it's very witty and intellectual. And I already mentioned how you have this ability to take $1 and make it into many. So leveraging the resources you already have and kind of becoming creative and understanding how you can take what you have already and work with it and use it to your best advantage, you feel me? So Virgo is a mutable sign. It's like clay or mortar, you know, like liquid cement, you feel me? It's earthy, but it's like all about sticking things together. It takes like the rocks, the solid rocks of Taurus, and puts them together, if that makes like because Virgo is the middle, it kind of bridges between Taurus and Capricorn. It's like the glue. And like I said, it's a mutable element. You feel me? A mutable sign, which is liquid. But anyways, that's like essentially the second house. Now to get into, your third house. So your third house is going to be in Libra, but I'm gonna double check just to make sure that is correct. So your third house indeed is in Libra. Third house is in Libra, and the closest cusp sign, the closest planet to the cusp of your third house is Pluto, and so it's Libra. So the first ruler of your third house is Pluto. The second ruler by sign, by resonance, by affinity is Venus, because Venus rules Libra. So with Pluto being in your third house, what Pluto does is it intensifies and it amplifies. Like, Pluto corresponds with a parallel aspect, for example. And what the parallel is it is like a conjunction but it's a bit more stable and more consistent, you know what I'm saying? And it deals with amplifying energies, strengthening energy, just like the conjunction does, you feel what I'm saying? Now, Pluto is like the 10th planet. And I guess I got a little bit excited to talk about Pluto, but I'm not even supposed to be talking about the planets really like that right now, because that's for later, you feel me? But I'm gonna finish my thoughts. Pluto is a higher octave. The number 10 is a higher octave of the number 1. So Pluto takes things to a different plane, a whole another plane, you feel what I'm saying? Like the spiritual realm. So, but the interesting thing about Pluto is it's a very polarized planet. It's very dualistic. It's both the finest of spirit, the finest of spiritual energies, but also the grossest of material energies. It's both insidious, horrifying and ugly, and just deals with the most corrupt of entities, and just like crazy forces. But simultaneously, Pluto also deals with like angelic energy, the highest exaltation of spirituality, universal welfare, and all that good stuff. So it's a polarity. But in this physical realm, it's recognized that Pluto favors its negative expression. So you actually have to work to convert Pluto into positivity. And so what this means for you is, with Pluto being in your 3rd house, is I'll just, not to interfere into the later sessions, I'll just say it intensifies your thoughts for you. It intensifies those thoughts. And it's interesting, right? Because Libra is actually the planet of balance, the planet of harmony, planet of equilibrium. So first and foremost, with you having the 3rd house within the sign Libra, so let's talk about what the 3rd house is. The 3rd house is a sign, obviously. It's a sign that deals with balance and equilibrium. My bad, I said sign, so I started thinking, but it's a house that deals with the inner mind, right? The internal environment, but simultaneously the immediate external environment. And the reason for this is because your internal environment is reflected into your external environment. So your immediate environment is a perfect example, a great reflection of the things that are going on within you. Like everything around you is what I'm saying. Like, just to get into this room I'm in real quick. Like in this room, right, everything is pretty organized, except I have one corner where things are somewhat disorganized, and that says a thing or two about my internal mind, you feel me? Maybe I'm organized in certain areas, but on that corner I'm not organized, right? And corners and feng shui have meaning, you feel me? So you can really dive deep into it and understand the symbolic energy of what that is reflecting, and then work on it. But yeah, that's like the yin yang of the 3rd house. It deals with the external immediate environment and the internal environment. It deals with thoughts and things like that. So the 3rd house is both a personal house and a house of association. So the 3rd house, the 7th house, and the 11th house are houses of association. You feel me? And all these houses deal with the air element. The 3rd house traditionally belongs to naturally, organically belongs to the sign Gemini, the 3rd sign. And Gemini is the sign of thoughts, the sign of rationality, the sign of logic. That's like the connection, you feel what I'm saying? And so with Gemini ruling over thoughts and Gemini ruling over logic and rationality, it's the same thing with the 3rd house. 3rd house, it's associated with Gemini and Mercury. Mercury more so deals with one's mental processing abilities. The 3rd house, not so much. the third house kind of deals with, okay, Mercury is processing information, and the third house is kind of where Mercury is processing that information to an extent. Because, for example, if you have Mercury not in the third house, then you're not going to be in your head a lot. It's a long story. Like, if you're a Gemini, you're going to be in your head. You feel me? So Gemini, the third house, and Mercury are connected, and they kind of reflect each other in different ways. Now, with you having Libra, this means that Venus is the second, right? Because Pluto is the first. We already established this. Venus is like the planet of harmony and balance. So it's a yin-yang type energy, because we gotta consider Pluto. For the most part, with Venus being the ruler of your third house, it signifies that you have an ability to bring equilibrium and balance into your mind. But with Pluto being there, it indicates that it's not so much that your mental environment is continuously balanced, but there may have had to be efforts on your behalf to balance it out. Simultaneously with Pluto being here, your mind is very powerful and influential. What I mean is, when we get into mental alchemy along the lines later, you will learn about thought forms and thought structures. And the thing about thought forms and thought structures is they kind of set up their energies, right? And then once their energies are set up, they're like a vortex. They draw things onto you. So as I was saying, right, when it comes to the third house in Libra, so let's retire speaking on the planets, right? Pluto and Venus. Let's just hone into Libra. So the first thing to understand about Libra is just the second manifestation of the air element, right? It is the second modification of the air element. So it belongs to the second emanation. Now, the energy of Libra, right? This is an energy that very much is a collaborative energy when it comes to thoughts, ideas, rationality, and logic. So Gemini is the first air element. And Gemini just rules thoughts, period. Like thoughts that are inside your head. Its key phrase, Gemini's key phrase is I think. Meanwhile, Libra's key phrase is, I balance. And Libra is all about the collaboration of thoughts, So all of the signs that belong to the second emanation deal with modification, where it's they have their own thought to begin with, but then they pull in inspiration from external thoughts and external ideas, and they use that as, like I said, inspiration. Now, when it comes to, give me a sec. When it comes to Libra being like this, it's of value to understand that when it comes to your mental space and your thoughts, it may be dominated greatly with modified thoughts. And what I mean by this is you having your own thoughts, but then that thought of yours becoming modified by an external influence or an external source, if that makes sense. Libra is very much a sign, right, that deals with the public. It deals with personal relationships, and it's a compromising sign, you feel me? At times the Libra energy can be rather spineless, rather passive than aggressive or assertive, you feel me? And so that's kind of to elaborate on the mental environment, right? So where Libra and Venus is concerned, Venus always seeks the path of least resistance. And to bring this to a full circle, what this ultimately means is that sometimes your thoughts may be placed there because it may be something that's conventional, or that's what's that word? Convenient, you feel me? So it's of value to not always just think on the same frame or same rhythm as those around you, especially those that you're in intimate personal relationships with, but to allow yourself to cultivate certain thoughts that are unique to you. You feel what I'm saying? And that's like the difference between Gemini and Libra. The Geminian energy is more inclined towards beating the beat of its own drum, like acting on its own thoughts and taking its own advice and its own ideology. Meanwhile, Libra kind of takes the other people's advice. You feel me? It's like Aquarius is the extreme of allowing the outside world to influence, but Libra is like a medium between Gemini and Aquarius. You feel me? Aquarius is the third emanation. Being the third emanation, it's more like full on. Like Aquarius rules like libraries, databases, information at large. So like that's where Aquarius kind of pulls from. He just pulls from the common knowledge. Libra modifies its own idea and the common knowledge's idea. But because Venus, right, is the planet that pursues the path of least resistance, like within the body, Venus rules like the venous system, which is like the veins, right? And the thing about the veins is the veins kind of submit to the pressures of like the arteries, you feel what I'm saying, which kind of contract. Like the veins, they're just channels. They're like the road. But then like our arteries kind of push onto the vein. Kind of like how like the heart is like a pump and it expands and contracts. Our arteries in a sense do the same thing, you feel me? And so yeah, like Jupiter rules the arteries, and that's a whole different story. But like Venus rules the venous system, or the veins, you feel me? And the veins are very passive and go with the flow type energy. And that may be to an extent the mental energy and the mental environment, you feel what I'm saying? But simultaneously, I think I probably should mention also that because it's a modification energy, it is a pioneer, right? Libra is very pioneering. So with that being that, it's like you may be a type of individual who may be able to take another idea and modify it and ponder upon it. Like the third house, it doesn't deal with deep thinking. It just deals with those thoughts that pass you, right? But yeah, that's pretty much the fourth house. And now to get into the next house, which is the fourth house. So as far as the fourth house is concerned, the fourth house is the house that deals with, hold on, give me a sec. It deals with the home life, right? It deals with the private life. So all these houses that we're currently talking about, because they're below the horizon, they deal with your private life. The first, second, and third house are personal houses. The fourth, fifth, and sixth house are companion houses. So we're going to get into the companion houses now. Now, your fourth house is within Scorpio, and your fourth house ruler is Uranus. Uranus is your fourth house ruler because the planet Uranus is in your fourth house. But then Mars is your second fourth house ruler, right? So we discussed a little bit about how the fourth house is like the domestic life. It's a companion house. It deals with the companions of the domestic life, like it deals with the companions of the home. You feel what I'm saying? And so it kind of like that's really what it deals with, like just the home life, the companions of the home, the setting of the home, the way that you've experienced, like the experiences you've had growing up within your home life, but simultaneously the experiences that you experience to this day, the theme of the home life, right? That's like very much the fourth house. So first and foremost, with the fourth house being in Scorpio, Scorpio is ruled by Mars. right? And that's why Mars is the second ruler of the 4th house. With Scorpio being ruled by Mars, what this means and what this indicates is that there is Mars is the planet of strife, struggle, hardship, overcoming, right? Like the square corresponds, like the aspect square, right, corresponds with the energy of Mars. So anyways, with you having your 4th house within the Scorpio energy, it kind of just manifests and highlights there being a plethora of, struggle energy, strife type energy, and challenges, obstacles, and just needing to overcome certain things where the home life, the domestic life, and the companion of the home is concerned. You feel me? When Mars is in Scorpio, when the 4th house is in Scorpio, Scorpio being like the sign, right, that deals with like things that are hidden, things that are kept in the dark, you feel what I'm saying, and also things that may be taboo, and Scorpio to an extent can deal with aggression, right? Especially Scorpio in the 4th house can deal with aggression. Now, interesting thing about Scorpio and Aries is they're both ruled by Mars. Aries is the physical expression of aggression. Like Aries is like a warrior type energy. But then so is Scorpio, but Scorpio is more like yin. Scorpio is like battling, but sometimes, because Scorpio is a water sign, sometimes the Scorpio's emotions may overtake them. You know what I'm saying? They may become overly emotional, so emotional to the point where they like lose control, almost to where like they get possessed. You can even say, because like Scorpio very much does deal with those spooky, scary things. Like we were talking earlier about Pluto. Scorpio has connections with Pluto. You feel what I'm saying? It most definitely has connections. Like Pluto is its co-ruler, So what this all means is possibly there may have been experiences associated with the house that may deal with paranormal activities, that may deal with death, that may deal even with like sexual misconduct, because it's all Scorpio energy. Or it can even be like manipulation, or like the domestic life and the home life being somewhat secretive, and maybe this can even extend all the way to your family and your heritage and your lineage, like not completely being conscious and aware of certain dynamics and aspects that are connected to your lineage, connected to your home. You feel what I'm saying? So anyways, when it comes to hold on. When it comes to the 4th house in Scorpio, I want to mention this. The key phrase for Scorpio is I desire. You feel what I'm saying? And so the thing with Scorpio is it's about attainment, attaining things. So Taurus, the opposite sign of Scorpio, is about possessing things, right? When you possess something, it's in your possession, you have it. Meanwhile, Scorpio is more I desire. That's the key phrase for Scorpio. It's all about the desire energy, wanting. So that can be like a want, and the reason for the want is to fill a void type energy. You feel what I'm saying? So Scorpio, right, when it comes to its strength, is that it is very resourceful. So there may have been a tremendous or a great amount of resourceful energies that may stem from the way that your home life is set up and everything like that. And so to give example of this, like Mars and the moon kind of have an alchemy, an affinity for each other. So iron and silver, when they are mixed, they blend very well, and they kind of create this alloy metal, right? And I'm talking metals mentally. This metal that kind of fuels this energy to accomplish. And so what I mean by this is, see, Mars deals with our reproductive desires, right? Biological reproductive desires, right? Our desire to reproduce, which expresses primarily through sex. But then the moon also deals with our reproductive desires, but the moon more so deals with nurturing and taking care of, you feel what I'm saying? Protecting. And so when it's one of the best like examples I can give is like when a mother sees her child is in danger, and then all of this dopamine floods her body, and she musters up all of this strength and all of this courage, which is like a mix between the Mars energy and the moon energy, right? The mother, her nurturing aspect, her desire to want to protect her child, the offspring, the child even being in the situation, that's the moon. But then Mars is like that newfound strength and courage to, so not to go further into this analogy, because I would assume you probably get the point. Like and that's how like that attainment energy manifests. So it may not be a literal type of attainment, but like one of my friends, right? Clients, but a lot of my clients become my friends eventually, right? One of my clients that I've been working with for a while, helping her decode her birth chart, she has her moon in Scorpio, and she used to have a lot of suicidal thoughts, wanting to give up on life, but it was because of her family, right? Because she had kids, that she found the power to continue to go and to continue to accomplish and to go out and get it. You know what I'm saying? So from that perspective, like Scorpio is attainment. Like it kind of fuels you. It like, brings energy to you, emotional energy. Now to get into the fifth house. So as far as the fifth house is concerned, when it comes to the fifth house is the house traditionally associated with the sign Leo. And so the fifth house is a house that deals with, hold on, give me a sec. So it deals with offspring's, child, how you express yourself, how you have fun, entertainment, creativity, and all that good stuff. So that's the fifth house. Now your fifth house is in Sagittarius. That's the cusp. And the ruler of your fifth house is Neptune and then Jupiter, right? And so with your fifth house being in Sagittarius, this just indicates that you find a lot of joy and entertainment where philosophy and traveling even are concerned. So this can be like physically traveling, or it can be mentally traveling, spiritually traveling. You feel what I'm saying? You enjoy to learn. This is like something that can be a pastime for you, right? Like learning and educating yourself, tapping into higher perspectives and knowledge. And so Sagittarius is the last of the fire signs. So it just deals with how the world perceives. Like just the viewpoint of the world at large. This is why Sagittarius deals with philosophy, religions, sacred books, higher perspectives in general, because our higher perspectives are kind of a collaboration of all humanity. You feel me? And so with Sagittarius, its strength is in it's like, what is Sagittarius' strength? So I know that its weakness is that it can be sportive, right? It can be very sportive, very challenging. And its strength, I'm pretty sure, is like its ability to be like charitable and giving and kind. Hold on, it's not coming to me. I forget the strength of Sagittarius. But yeah, anyways, that's its weakness. It can be very sportive, right? Very sportive, always trying to compete and everything like that. And its strength is actually, and I think in its ability, well, I don't know its key strength, but I know that Sagittarius is a very powerful leader, right, type of energy. But like lead from the perspective of knowledge, right? So it just ties back to teaching. So that may be something you may enjoy a lot, teaching others and things like that. You feel what I'm saying? But yeah, with your fifth house being in Sagittarius, like the fifth house also deals with like one's sex life and things like that. And Sagittarius is a very experimentative sign, a very free sign. So very free, I guess, with your sexual expression. But in general, your creativity, you may be a very experimentative person when it comes to your creative energies. And yeah, I think that's like the 5th house. The 5th house is pretty, to the point. Now, your 6th house. Your 6th house is going to be in the sign Capricorn. So with your 6th house being within the sign Capricorn, what this indicates is that when it comes to work, you're a type of person who takes your work very seriously, right? You take your responsibilities very seriously, but simultaneously, you may find yourself being bombarded with a lot of responsibilities to handle and deal with. You feel me? Capricorn is a very CEO type of energy. You feel me? So when it comes to your work, you may find yourself in positions where you have to like take control and lead others and things like that. And also because your sun is in the 10th house, like you are going to most likely propel more in a setting where you're self-employed rather than where you're working for others, right? I also gotta throw that in there. But with the Capricorn in the 6th house, it just indicates you're a hard worker. To watch out for workaholicism, being a workaholic, overworking yourself. And because the 6th house is also the house of health, being careful that you don't overwork yourself into sickness, you feel me, and illness. And yeah, I think like that pretty much, I almost dropped this. I would say that pretty much can conclude like your 6th house energy. So your 6th house is ruled by Saturn, right? So having discipline, having structures is going to be of great importance where your 6th house is concerned. Being attentive that whatever you're working on is going to take time, and implementing systems, and being disciplined and focused, and continuously working on your craft to perfect it and get it better is also of value. And like to conclude this, right, Capricorn is the sign of status. So your work, whatever work you do, you should always strive to become better and better and better at it, and seize all those opportunities. The key word for Capricorn is I use. It's all about utility. Its strength is that it's diplomatic, but its weakness is that it can be deceptive, right? So leverage your diplomaticness, your ability to negotiate and communicate with others, but be cautious on not being too deceptive in like the work that you do, because Capricorn in the 6th house can mean business, right? Working in settings where it's all about business. But yeah, I would say that pretty much concludes this session. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I most definitely look forward to your feedback. Namaste. Peace.